Meet Iszabella, 9 years, a Hanoverian mare. She came in utero from Germany to the US and is lucky to just have one owner since she was a foal, and she turned her into a beautiful first level dressage horse. When we look at Isabella's conformation, we can see that the front part is more dominant over the other parts and that her hind leg is kind of small in comparison, so she for sure needs to compensate in order to generate energy from her hind end. Iszabella has the tendency to place that left front leg further underneath her body, and she also has some issues with her hocks in the right hind end. She got PRP injections and does not really like to do transitions towards the right and has a hard time bending her body to the left. Looking at her face, the only real obvious thing was that her right ear seemed closer to the midline than the left, and even when you move the hair out of the way, it was still pretty obvious. She is cribbing since she is a foal, so did not learn behavior, not any traumatic accident anybody remembers, but that for sure puts a lot of stress onto her poll and the base of the skull. When we look at Iszabella from behind, we can see that there's an unevenness in her pelvis, so her right side is definitely higher than her left. When we look at her walking, I see a tendency that she tries to move more towards the right side, so she has more tension on the right side of her body and has an uneven motion of the pelvis. Looking from the front, it's obvious that she's very narrow. You see the front legs are almost touching, and we can tell with her long body she uses nicely her head to balance and create motion, very nice long strides. I always take a few minutes to get to know the horse, to ask the horse for permission to work with them, and just to get a first sense of the characters and the energies of that horse. Iszabella is very friendly. I very liked her. She was easy to connect with. And here I'm just checking her attention span. I'm holding her ears, see if she likes a touch on the head. And then I realized that every 5-6 seconds, she kind of moves her head away out of my touch. So that tells me not to go too deep at the beginning and often switch the spots so she doesn't feel any pressure and any tension. She is very alert, and there's somebody on that right side of the hill doing some work, and she's concerned and needs to see what's going on. I follow her attention, share her concerns, but then try to bring her energy back into my space. But she's very worried, and she really needs to go see what's going on over there. So I follow her, and we're gonna just check until she can bring her attention back to me and my work again. In order to have a successful session, it's important to take that time at the beginning to tune into that horse. I also like to work with the horse by myself and not have any other energies near me when I work. I like to work in an open space, so the horses have the possibility to walk away from me and to show me when there's any discomfort, or if my touch is too much or too intense. I palpated way more tension on that right side of the neck. That also makes sense because she has a hard time turning her head to the left, so that right side where the ear was closer to midline has way more tension and shortness in the muscles. So I work the poll and the vertebra and try to free up the meninges on that right side. Iszabella is still a little worried, so I follow her but don't let go of my hold, and we just kind of slowly bring that energy more into the center, more into focus. You can see that the attention span is already much longer, so she does not try to move away from my hands every 5 seconds. sometimes we have to work through areas which are not too comfortable, and then after that suddenly the horse kind of relaxes into that hold. It's always interesting to pay attention to their ears, how they're going back and forth and working while they're tuning into the treatment. I use the ears as handle to address the skull, to release tension out of the temporal bones, to release tension out of the fascia around the brain. If you find the right amount of stretch and pull and have a listening touch, the horses normally are very open to touching their ears and working on their head. We worked almost 10 minutes until we got the first licking and chewing out of Iszabella. The first sign of real relaxation and integration. I released the sternum and the pectoral fibers first, and now I'm addressing that left leg, which she places too much under her body and keeps it too far pulled under. She's cooperative, starts licking and chewing right away, and I'm stretching that shoulder and wait for the elongation of the fibers. And she's very cooperative and curious and holds her head mostly low and tells me that she's not in any sort of distress when I work with that front leg. I work with both front legs to create more space in that area of the sternum and hopefully influence already with one treatment a little bit that narrow stance or that narrow walk she has in her front. More and more release happens and she really starts letting go now. The yawning keeps going and going without me even touching anything, so I give her the space and the time she needs. Because even when I'm addressing those neck vertebrae, there's more tension released, so I give her some time. And then the horses really tell you when they have enough of an area, and then they have the chance to walk away. Horses tell you when you are working on the right area. Here she releases and shows interest in me releasing her rib cage and the nerves on the inside of her leg. You're right 20 minutes into the session and you can see a totally different horse. The attention span is longer, she's relaxed, she doesn't care much about what's going on in her surrounding and really tunes into the energy and into the treatment. It's always important to revisit problematic areas after you released the pole or other areas of the body, and just to kind of reevaluate what's going on and see how the horse reacts to the new abilities. That shoulder feels much freer already, and the horse is relaxed.
It's very important to tune in deeper than just to the muscles and to the bones. Here I'm working on Isabella's lungs. She had a pneumonia after an IV infection when she was at the hospital for a colic after eating acorns.
I really liked where that treatment was heading to. She was so tuned in and relaxed, and very in tune with herself. That's kind of what we like in horses, that they're comfortable within themselves. We compared her movements after the session. She's still very narrow in the front, so there was not much change. At the moment, she seems a little bit wobbly, so it always takes some time for the horses to integrate and find their new balance. Looking from behind, it looks a little more even. Her walk is a little smoother and more balanced on both sides.